Ash, good to see you. Media Day, 2 weeks before the start of the season. We're at Donington Park, and it's not raining. That's a good start, isn't it? We're coming back for what promises to be a cracking season for a number of reasons, which I no doubt we'll talk about. But first of all, let's just look back to the Croft test. Were you happy with what you got out of Croft?
Yeah, we were very happy with what we achieved over the 2 days there, and full stop for our whole winter programme. So, yeah, it's been really good in that respect. We've made some good steps in the car. We've kind of gone down a bit of a different avenue to what we've been doing the past few years. So I'm hoping there's lap time there to be had. It seems to be the case so far in testing. But obviously it's very hard to compare to anyone else, and seeing what they're up to, you're always sort of second guessing, and we will be even tomorrow on track. It's the true telltale is when we come into qualifying here at round one. So it's been good so far, so I can't complain.
Somebody else made a really interesting comment to me, which I hadn't considered, which was that we're sort of coming to the end of the current regs in the NGTC era, which means these cars are probably as good as they're ever going to get for this season, and there is very little major that you can change, which is going to make it a monumental season.
100%. I think we're at the point where you're fettling. You're tweaking a little bits here and there, and you're trying to find the last hundreds rather than you're finding tenths like you probably would have done 2 or 3 years ago, but I think when you go look at something like brands, if you take sort of the boost element out of it, we're going to all be operating within such a small amount of margin between drivers from the front to the back of the grid. It's going to be minuscule, which means qualifying is going to be hard, racing is going to be hard, but obviously with the boost involved, and this year the way it's going to implement will obviously break some of that up. But if you took that away, for sure, this would be the tightest you've ever seen it.
Having watched you drive over a number of years and watched the sort of setup that you like, the removal of the weight, the 75, 80 kilos from the car with hybrid coming out, means they're a little bit looser, a little bit more nimble. You're smiling because that suits you down to the ground, doesn't it?
It does. I like a car moving around, and I think people would say the same, should we say, about Tom Ingram and whatnot, and watching him over the years. And obviously Jake likes a car that's quite lively and leery, and I think there's a few of us that do like that. And you're exactly right. Take the weight out of the car. We are now in prime location, if that makes sense, for my driving style, and especially when it rains. The cars are really nimble. I haven't got that direct comparison in front-wheel drive. I've never actually driven a front-wheel drive car in the current regs, so with the same tyre configuration, if that makes sense. So the width change of the tyre a few years ago, I kind of jumped in front-wheel drive when the hybrid started. So I haven't got that comparison that everyone's comparing to. But for sure, I'm noticing a difference with the weight out of the car.
Yeah. The shootout qualifying process is the same again for this year. Are you a fan of that? Do you
I am.
That sort of
I like the pressure.
One-hit wonder ability?
I like the pressure. I like the... obviously, you need a car under you. The team need to deliver you a car. It's not one of those where you get 2 or 3 stabs at it to try and get yourself in there. With the tyre now, and if you have it and play your cards right, you kind of get 1 lap. It's only when you go to a shorter track, Knockhill, Brand, something like that, you kind of can get a couple of laps out of it. But for sure, at the longer circuits, Snet here, for example, you're going to be chasing that 1 lap performance, and that comes with a load of pressure, and especially when it's going to be super close as it's all expected to be.
Just on paper, it's always a competitive grid in the Touring Car Championship. This year, though, just feels like it's got an extra edge to it. There are competitive teams and there are competitive drivers within those teams. Are you conscious of that in terms of your thinking ahead to the way that the season's going to unfold?
Yeah, for sure. We've had a huge mix-up, haven't we? There's a lot of different driver and car combinations along with team combinations. Obviously the Honda's back as well, so that's an unknown. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks for sure, but I think the normal crowd will still rise to the top. You're still going to be keeping an eye on them, but for sure there's going to be a few new faces that are going to apply a bit more pressure than we like.
Are you entering this year? You are now a family man. Congratulations on the latest addition to the family. Has that changed what goes on in your head when you're behind the wheel?
No. Not yet. No, I'm joking. It's for now. You obviously you hear some stories and some drivers say that you maybe play the cards a bit safer and things like that. And I can kind of see why you would eventually later on in life maybe look at that. But right here, right now, I'm hungrier than ever. I would still go for the same move if I'm allowed to, as I would when I first joined the championship. So, yeah, you're still going to see the knife edge moves, the on the limit stuff. That hasn't affected me in that respect. But it has obviously away from the track. When I get out the car, I want to celebrate with the family. It's about it's a family game at the end of the day. They live and breathe it as much as I do. And obviously, when my first little boy was born, Sonny, I went and won the championship. So I've kind of set myself a goal to try and do that this year to go and win it for Hadley.
That would be quite an omen, wouldn't it?
It would be yeah. The problem then is where do I stop with how many kids I'm going to have?
You need to have a word back home about that one.
Yeah,
I'd like to win the touring car championship, darling.
Exactly that. So, yeah, that's my goal. That's what I want to go and achieve.
Your goal is to win the championship again, without a shadow of a doubt. So what's the marker in the sand that you've put down for yourself for the start of the season?
We need to come out all guns blazing, ultimately. We need I'd love to say a repeat of 2023, but I think that was such a unique year. I don't think that will come around for a very, very long time for any driver. It was a special year. But I want to come out with the same style, the same attitude, the same threat. That's ultimately what we're here for. We're here to put a threat on, we make people question what we're capable of doing, and put ourselves in the best position to go for that fifth title.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an incredible season, and I do, as always, wish you the very best of luck for you and the family.
Lovely, thank you.
I would love that sort of little omen to come come true. That would be a proof, wouldn't it? Have a good season, Ash. Just before you go, as you know, we'll have a couple of little sidebar questions to start the season off. So choose a number between 1 and 5.
Oh, I'm going 3.
3. Do you have a middle name?
I do, yeah. John.
Okay, good. Thank you for sharing. There has been some drivers who haven't shared their middle names. And another number between 1 and 5.
I'm going to go 1.
Are you a good passenger in a road car?
No, absolutely hate it. I'd rather drive 8 hours and sit in the passenger seat for half hour.
One driver who you might be in the same garage as admitted that he's such a bad passenger, he screamed once.
Is that Dan Camish?
It is.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. And one final number.
Let's go the other end, 5.
What was the last book that you read?
I don't read books. Actually, to be fair, I'll say this, Jason Plater's book.
You're the second one to say that. He'll be delighted.
Yeah, good read. But for those of you that have read it, make sure you go and listen to it on Spotify. Much better.
Couldn't agree with you more. I listened to it on Spotify.
Yeah, he adds his character to it.
Great delivery, isn't it? And as I've said to everybody, without spoiling it, there's a fantastic story about him and Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, there is.
You're smiling, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Brilliant. Ash, as always, an absolute pleasure to see you. Have a great season. Thank you.
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you.